We're speaking to Susan this morning. She is Nathaly's daughter. Nathaly was the lady that we interviewed yesterday morning. Thank you so much, Susan, for coming in and speaking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we spoke to your mom yesterday, and she seems happy with her life right now.
Yeah, actually, I think things have changed ever since I think my dad has been in the home. I think when he first went in, there was a lot of guilt, and it still creeps in once in a while now. So even if we would say we would be just having dinner or whatever, and then she'd be like, I think tomorrow I'll bring him home for the night. And I'm like, look, do what you want, but also you need to understand that you're not going to have a break, because it's pretty full on to take care of him. So I'm okay with whatever decision you want to do, but in terms of happiness, I think she's a lot more relaxed now. The guilt doesn't creep in as much. So things are progressing better now. Yeah.
But she did mention that you want her to find a companion. Why is that? Why do you want her to have a companion?
I think it's maybe could be for selfish reasons, but I feel that maybe also she's moved on her dependency from my father to me. So it's one of those where I am now her rock, right? But we need to understand that I also have given up my life for my family, and I've done it without any regrets, but it's reached a point where I need to start my own life. I have put off finding anyone, I put it into work, building a career, but at the same time I don't have a life. I still live at home. I'm 33, and I think for that is, I think she needs someone else. She doesn't need to depend on. It's not like you need to latch on to the next person. It's just that, maybe she deserves love. My mother is a romantic, and she never got that from my dad, because my dad's a rock, and she always says that I'm stubborn like my dad. So, and I'm emotionally stunted like my dad. So and she's not. She's a complete opposite. She loves hugs. She loves, romantic gestures, and she never got that, and I think I'm the byproduct of my father. So,
but have you spoken to her about it? Because she seemed to think that, hey, my daughter and me, we're best of friends. We can hang out, and then we don't mind just being with each other only. Yeah,
we've had this conversation a lot, and I think this year, I am standing up a bit more for myself, and I think I've got friends. My mom and I, and actually even with my dad, I've never had a curfew. I've never had the whole over parenting. My parents have always let me do whatever I wanted to do, but I think I've always made the decisions for myself, right? And I've always put the family first. So this time, and I mean, I've been talking to my friends about it, and my friends always come over, and my friends treat my mom like one of us. You know, we all just hang out together, and we've all said, it's time for me to go and start. And it's not like I'm going far, like I'll always be around. She literally told me if I'm going to move out, I got to move out in the same area. But that's because she's saying, at a later age she's worried, if I need to rush back, and if it's too far away, that would be a problem lah. So we've had that conversation, and I think she's a lot more open to it now, because the switch is very apparent, because now she's actually looking for apartments for me. So I've kind of like, oh no, I'm busy, and then she's like, no, don't worry, I got the numbers, we'll go and visit. I've already done the viewing.
Oh, right, okay.
So she's making the arrangements. So
she's ready.
That's her way of saying, hey, it's time.
So it's time for you to move on, as well as a time for her to start another chapter of her life.
And I told her, I said, we need to move on past that, the mother-daughter relationship. We are going on to a friendship sort of thing. And I said, maybe we should, and now also we try and go out for like dinner or drinks or whatever, instead of actually always being at home. So if we want to catch up, we do it outside, and I got no issue with that, and she's got no issue with that. So that actually we're trying to build healthier relationships now.
What's your relationship like with your father?
My father and I, we're both very stubborn. So even when I was a kid, it was weird, because when I was younger, I would remember him always being there. He would pick me up from school, and then he would take me out and all that. So I remember he was very hands-on. But then when we were growing up, and then he started working a lot outstation and stuff like that, I would only see him weekends, right? And then it got to that relationship where he was my financier, not really so much like he was always the money guy, right? If I needed money, I know I can go to my father. But we would fight a lot, and because we would disagree on a lot of things. Like my father wanted me to be a singer. It's the most random thing.
Really?
Yeah. So my father wanted me to be a singer, and when I said no, he didn't take it very well. So we were always just very stubborn lah. We were always fighting with each other.
Okay.
So when I went off to Melbourne to study, and then that was that moment, I was like, that's when I realized that he actually is my financier, not really a father
So
lah.
there was no real connection?
No connection. I mean, I tried. We both tried, I think. But I did psychology, and the only reason why I did psychology was to understand my father. That was actually one of the biggest things, yeah. And I till today I can never understand him, and I think that's why our relationship never really, progressed. And it was one of those where he would tell me, I'm not proud of you, and he would say things like that. And now in hindsight would be it probably was his mental health that was causing him to say all of that. But even though I understand that, and I also studied to understand that, it still hurts. So, and then like my mom would tell me, you don't need his approval, but now it's worse because now that he doesn't have the mental capacity to actually tell me, I would never get that approval lah.
Right.
Yeah, even as now, maybe he could be proud, I don't know, but he would never be able to tell me that lah. That's something that I got to work on.
No closure.
Yeah, no closure lah. Yeah.
But let's just say your father were to get better from his condition and he wants to start a relationship with your mother again. Would you be open to that?
I am okay with it. At the end of the day, my mom needs to decide. It's not my life. I am the byproduct of that marriage, and I will take care of him till the day he has to leave. And whatever decision she wants to make, I will support that. But I would tell her to really think it through lah. It's really up to her. I mean, she, like I said, she has moments where she'll say, maybe we should take him out of the home and bring him back, and then we'll get a live-in caretaker. I said, but you gotta really think, because it's your decision. Because at the end of the day, if I move out, that's your life, So I'm okay with whatever they want to do. I don't think he will be getting better, and I think we've both accepted the fact that this is going to be our life lah.
Okay.
But in your opinion, you said your father is not in the mental capacity to make decisions for himself right now. But if he had the inkling, or if he still knows that your mother is his wife, and he finds out that his wife is going out with someone else, how would you think he would feel about it?
See, I think he would be, because we've teased him before, in terms of like we were out for dinner or whatever, and say, what if mommy finds someone else? Okay lah, up to her lah. And he said it before, but I don't know whether he's just saying this in passing.
When was this? Was he
This
still...
was before he was institutionalized.
No, actually this was after, but because we still see him, and he's actually quite aware of his surroundings, so he just gives us one word answers. He's a child. Like, he's gone back to that childlike manner, right? Like, you have to tell him, pa, eat, pa, don't do this, So you ask him his opinion on things, he doesn't have any. But if you call him and say, hey, how to cook this dish? I remember last time you used to cook it, and he would actually remember everything.
Right.
So he can, it's just whether he cares about it enough to actually do it lah.
Yeah.
So we've had these kind of things before, like, hey, what if mommy wants to find someone else? And he's like, go lah. So I don't know whether he's joking or that's his way of telling a joke, or I just don't think he will be in any capacity to make a decision lah. I think he'll be hurt. I think because sometimes if we give him his meds, or if let's say the new dose of meds doesn't work, and he becomes a manic, so he just goes like crazy, right? And then he'll call us, I remember that time when you told me. So now he doesn't talk at all, but sometimes if his meds doesn't work, suddenly he'll call me, and like he's having a full-on conversation or shouting at me. Remember that time you told me this? I remember, I remember everything that y'all are saying,
Wow.
just because you think I'm on medicine, right? I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of creepy. Yeah. So in a way, I think he does know that something is happening there, but I think he also kind of accepted the fact that he might have to move on now.
Okay.
Because, I mean, when we asked your mom yesterday, and she said that he's no longer the man that she married. he is no longer there. That
Yeah.
that guy has checked out.
Yeah.
And,
It's true.
Yeah.
I think you look at him and it's weird because now the roles have reversed, right? I had to give up my 20s and I basically became an adult and took over the family in my 20s. And everybody tells me, I've never had that freak out moment. I didn't go through that experimental I didn't do anything, I had made the decision to end my studies in Melbourne, came back, took over the family, started working and studying at the same time, and everything I do is for them, and now it's like, what about me? So that is also another thing lah. Yeah.
So every time your mom says, let's bring him back, I still love him, but then that it's a different person already, do you ever get upset with moments like that?
I get a bit frustrated with her. Because whenever she says, I want to bring him back, I know it's just like she feels guilty lah, like he's there, and I get it. And I said, but you also need to understand when he comes back. My mother's a very patient person, but she's not patient with him. So she takes it out on him, and she in a lot of ways she cannot accept the fact that there's something wrong with him, because he's sitting down there and he does drop some food or whatever, and she said, oh, why are you like this? And I'm like, he doesn't understand, right? So why put yourself through this every week when he doesn't really understand, and even when we go and visit him, like sometimes she'll just want to go hang out with him in the home, and he who said, okay, I'm going to my room. So he literally leaves her there. So she's hanging out with the other people instead of him,
So she went to visit him, but he doesn't want to see her.
So I don't, she'll say, why don't you go and visit him? And I'm like, every time I go, he only talks to me for 5 minutes. And then he leaves, right? And I'm just sitting down there. So I say, there are a few traditions now that we have, which is every Sunday we have to do family dinner. So I will pick him up, or if I take him to the temple, then we will meet her somewhere. So there are a few things that we kind of still do together. And I say it's much better than us going over, because he really doesn't care. So,
So how will that affect, how will that Sunday tradition change if your mom actually does find someone?
I think we've had that conversation in terms of her finding someone. I think she doesn't want someone for life. She said she wants someone. I told her, it's like, you cannot set the rules this way. She said, oh, maybe I'll see the fella 2-3 times a week. I'm like, that's a friend. that's not a companion, right? But I think, and this is something that I've had a conversation with her. I said, as long as my father is alive, let's not bring someone home. I'm okay if you want to meet the guy somewhere else and have a relationship outside, but just not in the house, because it's still my father's home, and we built this with him. So I think that's the least that we can do for him. And look, at the end of the day, even if the traditions continue, just don't meet the man on a Sunday night lah. That's really just it.
Yeah. All right.
But since you're so pro, since you want your mom to go out there and look for other people, under what circumstances would you oppose the guy your mom wants to go out with?
Maybe someone I work with, I don't know, or someone my age lah. I think that would be a bit weird.
Or younger than
me. I'm actually okay with whatever, as long as she's happy.
Has she expressed a desire to date someone much younger?
No.
All right. Okay. Cool. So, but that's your worry.
Yeah. If you're asking me whether I've got any, I think it would just be weird and awkward if it's someone my age, or if it's a friend of mine. That would be weird for me. But I'm okay. Because she's had mentioned in the past, oh, I think that guy's kind of cute. I'm like, yeah, okay, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
My mother's got more game than me. So whenever we all go out, she'll be like, suddenly one guy will come out, hi, can I dance with you? I'm like, go lah. So, she's got more game.
Also, she's had moments like that before where guys have come up to her.
Yeah, so like I said, we go out together and with friends, even with her friends or with my friends, we do go out, and it's not like she goes and looks and scouting. No, it's not. She's just by
she's
chance.
Not on the hunt.
She's not a hunt.
Right.
But hypothetically speaking, right, what would you do if you do not get along with your mom's new partner?
I would tell her maybe I just won't hang out with it so much, or like I said, I am there for her. Whatever she does, in her free time, that's her thing. Like if I disagree or I don't get along, I would express to her. But again, I would still hang out with her, and I probably don't have to hang out with the both of them together, lah. Not as much, lah.
Okay. So you won't oppose to that? I don't get along with him, don't go out with him.
No, I think again, it's not my life, it's hers. And I think for a person who's lived her life always in someone's shadow, this is her time to shine, and I'm not going to be the downer in that relationship or in her life. Yeah, even like with it's small changes that we're doing. Even with for example, the house that we live in, we were doing a renovations, and I told her, I said, you need to decide the color, you need to do this, because my father's always done it. And she said, no, it's our house. I said, it will always be our house, and whatever color you pick, I will be okay with it. But it's small things like that. Again, her life.
Yeah. But what if she found the perfect man, and he's a divorced man with children? So you'll get like stepsisters and stepbrothers and all that.
Because I'm the only child. So for me, it's like I've always wanted siblings. So it would be great to actually kind of depend on someone else, because it's also tough for me. I think being the only child, I think with people with siblings, it kind of helps when you have someone else to talk to.
Yeah.
For me, I have family, like, I mean, I have my cousins and all that, but we're not close. Like, we're okay, but in terms of that bond or like making that decision after that, it always falls on me, and it's a lot. So,
and they won't get it, right? Because
they won't.
You're not a kid of that
yeah,
relationship.
And living in that dynamics, nobody's going to understand that. So, in terms of making big decisions, that has been very stressful for me, because it's always I got to, who do I talk to? Sometimes if I'm even stressed, I talk to my mother. But even then also, it's like, it's just too much of pressure, lah. So it'd be great to actually have siblings or someone else, yeah.
Your mom did mention that she's not looking for a marriage. Are you hoping that she will get married again?
No, I think she made it pretty clear that she's just looking for... She doesn't want to go through the whole thing again.
Yeah, but then you also said, Brad, that's not a companion, that's a friend. Right?
It's true, but I mean... if that's what she wants, I just gotta respect it, lah.
Right.
If she does say, I want to get married, hey, go ahead. Another wedding we can plan. But at least it's something I would be there.
But what would that condition be for her to get married? Would your dad need to be?
I think we would have to have that conversation with him, because he's mentally not capacity wise, he cannot make decisions.
Yeah.
So I don't think they can get a divorce. So that would have to be something
complicated.
It's complicated, lah. So I don't think anything can happen since if he's alive, lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if your mom were to start dating again actively, and then you hear, your family and friends start talking about her, this lady, so old, still want to go and date and all that. Like, what would you do? Like, how would you deal with that?
No, I think I would. I definitely would defend her, but I know a lot of people that look at our situation and have things to say, and I think because of her personality, they would go directly to her. They won't come to me, and then I can see that she's upset about something, and I say, why? And then I find out if somebody had said something like this, and they won't say it to me because they know I would defend her, but I would go to them and say, look, it's really none of your business. Like, I don't come to your life and tell you how to live yours. So it is a weird situation. It's not something we wanted, but you gotta do what you gotta do, lah. So, and I would like that if she would stand up for herself, but that's something that we're working on in terms of that relationship, and slowly, lah.
Do you have any fears of your mom dating again, even with your dad still around?
I just don't want her to get hurt, and I think that's she's lived a life with a lot of hurt, and I think her going back into this, and then if the guy just kind of ghost her or like I don't know what, like if it doesn't work out, right, and then it's back to square one. Like, we've made progress in terms of her independence and her self-worth, and then suddenly if this happens, and then it could go back to that, and I just don't want to see her hurt, lah.
So you don't want to have more drama in her life?
Yeah,
right?
like, I mean, we've had enough. We've had our fair share of drama, and we're in a comfortable place now, so it's good to kind of just no drama, lah. Maybe that's why a companion 3 days a week
maybe, right,
might actually work.
Why? What happened? That full too much drama, like.
That's right. Good, smart cut now.
What if, I mean, she changes partners every week?
Oh my god.
I mean, you, mom. Like, teach me your ways. Because clearly I'm single, so somebody needs to teach me.
But how imperative is it for you, for your mom to find a companion? Is it like, must she have a companion, or what if she never gets a companion and just lives alone for the rest of her life?
That's fine as long as she's happy. Like, she needs to work on what she wants, a life that she wants. So if she says, you know what, I really just like my trash TV and staying at home and cooking my dinners and, you know, just having fun with my friends, I'm like, that's fine. Like, you do you, you know. I'm just not gonna say anything, but just hopefully that she didn't expect me to live in the same house
Exactly.
the entire time lah.
How would that affect you? Because you say that because she depends on you a lot, right? Can you? Because you gave up everything when you were in your 20s already for this. And with your mom not moving on, do you feel like you also can't move on as well?
In the past, yes. But I think, like I said, this year I'm now taking a stand and saying no lah. It's time. You know, I also have my fears though of moving out. That's because I'm so dependent, right? On it's a two-way street, right? I also am dependent on her and stuff like that. So for me to move out, and I've moved out in the past, you know, even when I was in Melbourne, even when I came back, I was living alone, and I ended up making that decision to come back to be there and help her out. So it's a dependent game, right? And I do fear that we would come back to this point again, but I think it's something that we've got to do lah, you know. And me taking that stand now and said, look, I've taken care of you guys, I've taken care of him, and I still will continue to take care of you guys. You technically don't have to work anymore, both of you. Like, he obviously cannot, but she doesn't have to work anymore, and she's taken care of. But with that, I still need to go and live my life, because if not, I will be in this place lah. I'll just be stuck in this position.
It's a vicious cycle in a way, right?
And I think, like you said, it's a two-way street. If you keep staying at home, your mom also cannot move on with her life because she has someone to depend on. So now that if you're moving out, she's by herself, and then she will feel the loneliness, and then maybe she will want to go and find someone, right? Yeah,
because every time I live in this house with her, I always feel like a kid. Right, so, and it's weird, and this one story which is quite interesting. It's like, I still sleep on a super single bed. I'm 33, right? And in her mind, she's like, there's nothing wrong with the bed. Like, you know, and I'm like, no, I'm 33, I sleep on a super single. And then if my friends come over, they look at my bed, it's like, it is time to move out.
Yeah,
you know, and she cannot understand that logic. You know, I say, you need to understand, I am a kid in this house. You know, and I will always be your child, but you need to start treating me like an adult. And that is that change that we need to make lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Susan, what advice would you give to children of parents who have lost their partner, probably to death or incarceration, or in your case, institutionalization, who actually opposes their parent finding another companion?
I think at the end of the day, you really just got to let your parent decide what they want. I think kids have a say, yes, but you also need to really listen to what your parent is going through, you know. You can't just assume that because of a situation like this, you need to follow what is right. What is right? You know, being happy is right. So really just talking, having that conversation with your parent. And again, it's not your life, it's your parents' life lah. So that's what I think. I think everybody deserves happiness, and everybody needs to figure out their own path.
How important do you think it is for someone later in their life to have a companion accompany them through the later parts of their life?
I think it's important. I mean, it doesn't need to be a romantic sort of relationship, you know. A soulmate can be your best friend too, you know. So I think it's really just finding anyone, you know, finding that group of people that you click with, and that will be more than enough to get you through life. You know, it doesn't have to be a romantic. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? But having that group of people around you, surround yourself with that helps with the situation. Like, I mean, for me, going back to the fact that I'm the only child, right? And I'm worried, you know, when my parents leave, I'm going to have no one, right? But I've built that circle of mine now to say that, hey, if my parents are gone, I still have you guys, and you guys are more like family to me. So just, finding that group of people, that kind of helps, yeah.